Now for the latest on how the financial markets are digesting the weekend's attack on Iran. I'm joined by ABC Chief Business Correspondent Ian Verinder. Ian, we were told to expect oil and gas to soar on the open. Have they done that?
Not exactly, Kath. I mean, up around about 7 to 8% at the moment. Oil prices had been spiking anyway in the weeks leading up to this because, there was a lot of tension out there, and so there was a lot of speculation that something might happen. So oil prices have gone from about $60 a few weeks ago, $60 a barrel, up to around about 78 today.
So what are the concerns? Is it a concern that the oil is going to be targeted, so therefore supply will be less, or is it the case that the Strait of Hormuz might shut? What are the challenges to the oil price? Well,
it's really around the Straits of Hormuz, because if that is shut, that shuts down about 15% of global oil supplies. And even though OPEC has announced that it will increase its output to try and counter this, it's not going to be anywhere near enough to counter that. The other big factor, though, too, because we're talking about energy as a complete package here, is gas, LNG. About 20% of the world's LNG is shipped out of Qatar and through the same straits. And so with drone technology these days, I mean, Iran could be just, sending up drones and stopping all shipping coming through that very narrow passage for quite an extended period.
So whilst we're not seeing a translation right now, because you said it had been factored in somewhat because of tensions, we're early days into this conflict now. We're 2 days in. If this goes on further, how could it impact oil and gas?
Well, the timing is everything, really, because the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. So the shortages of oil and gas, accumulate. As we saw in, when Russia invaded Ukraine, oil prices spiked at $120 a barrel, US dollars a barrel. And there are analysts this morning falling over one another to predict 100, 115, 120. One has gone as high as 150. So if that does happen, then we're looking at, a pretty serious fallout in terms of the global economy.
As consumers, we always want to know, where is it going to affect our back pockets? When might this flow through to the Bowser? When might it flow through to energy prices?
That's right. And when it might flow through to interest rates as well, because if you think about what has been driving the inflation problem in Australia since the pandemic and since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, it's all been about oil prices, it's all been about electricity prices. And so if that continues, we'll certainly see a huge jump in electricity prices again, and that might cause or force the Reserve Bank to take further action.
More broadly speaking, when you look at the financial markets as a whole, we know it's fairly fragile and has been, but it's still keeping on. We're seeing these companies that are valued at some of the top rates that we've seen in all time. What could something like this, a shock to the system, the financial system like this, mean for the broader financial system?
Well, look, there's already a lot of nervousness out there around financial markets because of the valuations. They are extraordinarily high. We've seen software companies like Microsoft, Atlassian's down around 80% from its peak. They've taken a massive hit because everyone thinks they're overvalued. And that's flowing through to the financiers as well. Now, on Friday night, we saw an unknown UK financier collapse, and that reverberated through global markets. You had Goldman Sachs, you had a whole lot of big name banks that took 5-7% hits to their share price. So, there's a lot of nervousness out there that markets are overvalued, and you really just need something else to tip the balance.
And just quickly before we go, Ian, it seems like gold is the beneficiary of all of this still.
Yeah, and look, we have to realise that Australia is a big exporter of energy and a big exporter of gold, and so if energy prices do spike, the country will be earning more money, at least through those means, and gold as well.
Ian Verinder.